We've already done a couple of lessons on crime, and anybody who wants to get these lessons plus the exercises just needs to go to skype-lessons.com and click on the live classes button at the top, and then go to vocabulary. And on that page, you'll see all the money lessons, all the work lessons, because we've done vocabulary with money, with work, and even a couple with crime. We're continuing with crime today. And on that page, you get loads of exercises. All of these, all of this material is available for free as a PDF with exercises, with answers. So please go there if you want to practice some of this vocabulary. So let's have a look at crime. So firstly, we can see a little picture here. I do like using images. You can see a picture here of what's going on. So firstly, the crime is committed. Please remember that we use the verb commit with crimes. It will sound weird if you say do a crime. I'm not saying that natives don't. They may do sometimes, but it doesn't sound like nice English. And yeah, generally speaking, you commit crimes. You commit sins as well. So commit is often used, it collocates well with bad things, yeah, with commit a crime, commit a sin, commit suicide. Yeah, a lot of not very nice words that work with commit. But firstly, the crime is committed. Here we see a thief committing burglary. So you can use commit with any crime, committing theft, committing burglary. He must have broken into someone's home and stolen 2 laptops. Yeah, we can see 2 laptops under his in his hands, and so let's assume that he has broken in and stolen 2 laptops. So break into somewhere or break in. Yeah, you can just break in as well if you're not going to give it an object. He is wearing a balaclava so that witnesses won't be able to identify him. So witnesses are people who see the crime. Yeah. And do be aware about these phrasal verbs. Break into is a very useful one, certainly in crime. Okay, here we see that a suspect has been arrested. He is wearing handcuffs. Yeah, you can see the handcuffs on him, and he is now being interrogated. I should have probably made that bold because that's a very good crime word. Yeah, interrogated means to be questioned by the police, and so it's very useful in crime. If the police find sufficient evidence, yeah, they may charge him with burglary and he will have a trial in court. So evidence is the formal word used for all the different pieces of, well, for example, fingerprints, blood splatter, yeah, any DNA evidence is also a piece of evidence. Any material found on the crime scene can be used as evidence, and it may prove that somebody was there or that somebody was not there at the time that the crime was committed. So evidence is what we use in court. Yeah, you'll have evidence, you know, piece of evidence number 1, piece of evidence number 2, and they have hundreds of pieces of evidence when there's a crime that has been committed. And detectives look for evidence, and you can also say they look for clues. Clues is a lot less formal than evidence. You wouldn't say they use clues in court, and it's slightly different clues because it's not necessarily a piece of, you know, a fingerprint or something, although that would count as a clue, kind of. But clues are more general. You know, Sherlock Holmes looks for clues in it, so he's just looking around for something that might give away who committed the crime. But it's a much more general word, and it's not specifically for law. Please use evidence for law, anything in court. And you charge somebody with a crime, which just means arrest them and formally accuse them of a crime. And it's the police that charge you. You know, they formally accuse you because they think they have enough evidence. And then you have to go to trial in court, okay? So in court, the defense lawyer will try to provide evidence that his client is innocent. The prosecution lawyer will try to persuade the jury members that the defendant is guilty. Once the jury members have given their verdict, guilty or not guilty, the judge decides on the punishment, or the defendant is acquitted. Okay, so we've got a lot of different words here. You've got defense lawyer and prosecution lawyer for the people involved. People can be innocent or guilty. And you always have a jury. If it's an important, you know, high court case, if it's a serious crime, then there's a jury of 12 people usually, and they decide if the defendant is guilty or not guilty. They have to give a verdict. Yeah, their verdict is guilty or not guilty, and then the judge decides on the punishment, or the defendant is acquitted. Okay, so we'll do one more quick text because I think we've got enough time. Yeah, we've only been doing this for 5 minutes. Let's carry on. UK courts. In the UK, there are two types of court: a magistrates' court, which deals with petty crimes such as drink driving, petty theft, and disorderly conduct, and a Crown Court, which deals with major offences such as rape, murder, and robbery. The Magistrates' Court can only impose prison sentences of up to 6 months for a single offence and 12 months for multiple offences. In most cases, the accused will receive a non-custodial punishment, such as a fine, a driving ban, or community service. Okay, let's stop there for a second. Petty crimes is like minor crimes. Yeah, you can also say minor crimes, petty crimes. Unimportant, not as important as the major crimes. Yeah, major offences, and we very often say offences for crimes. Yeah, this was just a minor offence, meaning a minor crime, but a major offence, such as rape, murder, and robbery. I can't help but notice that I'm not using my Oxford commas here, and I feel like that's unacceptable. I like Oxford commas. Okay, the Magistrates' Court can only impose prison sentences. So you impose prison sentences of up to 6 months for a single offence. Yeah, and we use this prison sentence. Yeah, a 10-year sentence, a 5-year sentence, a life sentence, a death sentence. So please be aware of the word sentence for when you're talking about custodial punishments. Yeah, a custodial punishment is a prison punishment. In most cases, the accused, so that's what we call the person who, before he's found guilty, he's just the accused. He might be found not guilty. So we just call him the accused, and we certainly don't call him the guilty or the convicted. So a non-custodial punishment, this means, a non-prison punishment, such as a fine. That's a financial punishment. That's money. And I would remember the word financial and fine. But a driving ban, yeah, that's when you're banned from driving for 12 months or 2 years. And community service, which is when you have to work in the local area for free, yeah, just to make up for your crime. Yeah, there's compensation for your crime. It's more often given to younger people. Okay, for more serious offences, the defendant must be tried in a Crown Court, which will usually include a judge and a jury. So two very important words there for court. The jury members must decide whether the accused is guilty or not guilty, and they base their verdict on the evidence presented during the trial. If the witnesses are unreliable, yeah, we've already done witnesses, the people who see the crime, or if the evidence has been tampered with. So if you tamper with evidence, you mess with the evidence in some way, you change the evidence in some way. Maybe you try to make somebody look guilty by tampering with the evidence, or maybe you try to make it look like you're definitely not guilty by tampering with the evidence. But it means changing the evidence in some way to make sure that you either aren't, well, to mislead the police, let's say. I mean, really, it is, misleading the authorities. The accused will perhaps be acquitted. So be acquitted means to be set free. If the accused is found guilty, then the judge will have to decide on the type of punishment. And you can just say decide the type of punishment. Decide on just sounds slightly more formal to me. Sometimes the defense lawyers will convince the judge that mitigating factors played a role in the crime. Now, mitigating factors are things that lessen the severity of the crime, and they are usually reasons why the crime happened, kind of justifications. I mean, not justifications, but they lessen the person's guilt. So, for example, a mitigating factor might be something like, I don't know, maybe if it's a crime of passion and the person saw something really awful, people understand why they suddenly lost their mind, that might be a mitigating factor. Another good word here is extenuating circumstances. It just lessens the guilt of the criminal. So mitigating factors played a role in the crime, and these may lessen the severity of the punishment. Occasionally, a man is arrested on trumped-up charges. This means charges where the police have just made them up because they want to get this person for some reason. So they're not real, they're not genuine, but for some reason the authorities don't like this person. So this is, of course, very bad. And the prosecution lawyers are able to convince the judge and jury of the innocent man's guilt. When an innocent man is sent down for a crime, you can also say put away for a crime. Yeah, it means put in prison, sent down, put away, put inside, put behind bars, a lot of different expressions there, for a crime which they did not commit. We call this a miscarriage of justice. So these happen all the time, sadly. I think it is the case. The defendant has the right to appeal against the sentence or the conviction. Okay, so to appeal, it means to try to get your, it's when you're sent, maybe you're accused of a crime and then you're sent down, you're found guilty and sent down, but you want to prove that you're not guilty. And so you appeal to the courts to try to get them to change the verdict that they gave you. Okay, I'll put some exercises, these ones, up on my website in a few hours with this lesson. So if you've enjoyed the lesson, please go to the website and you will find exercises for this vocabulary. And yeah, please stick around for the rest of the week. I'll be making more morning classes. So if you come along at around sometime in the morning, I like to surprise you. But please come and please go to the website, and there'll be lots more material coming to keep you busy. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you all soon.